not lazy. You're just really stinking tired. And today we're going to talk about how this misconception is actually keeping you from being the best leader that you can be. But before we do, hi, my name's Dr. Kylie Bragdon.
I'm Rebecca Bragdon.
And this is where we talk about modern day leadership to make sure that we're all doing our part in making this planet a little bit better of a place. So
Let's talk about it.
let's talk about it. Tired. I feel like being tired was something that I was sold as just something you did when I got my first leadership role. How about you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's just the everyday state of, I mean, how many coffees are you on today?
Yeah.
Like, how many Red Bulls have you had? Like, that's,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And if you're not doing it all, you're obviously
Well, you're just lazy.
you're just a big fat failure if you can't do it all. If you don't do it all, you're definitely lazy. So we do all these crazy things, right?
Mm-hmm.
You touched upon it. Little caffeine consumption. We may have dabbled in that in the past a bit. I can remember a time and a place where 1,000 milligrams of caffeine a day seemed like an okay decision to be making. To be clear, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Don't allow yourself to do that. It's not worth it.
Well, it's just a cycle, right? Let's drink all the caffeine and then let's not sleep well.
Yeah.
And that just doesn't work. So you wake up the next day tired.
Yeah, you just get caught in this cycle and you need more and more and more and more. Actually, interestingly enough, I did find this really interesting study.
Of course you did.
Of course I did.
Tell me that.
So how many Americans, we're talking about Americans. Okay. How many Americans do you feel or think use caffeine every day? What percentage of the population?
It's got to be over 90. Well, I don't know, because it's kids, right?
Yeah.
So 70?
85. 85%, with the majority having at least 400 milligrams or more. So let's talk about that. That's 2 5-hour energies, which I may have had in my day or two. Shameless plug, if you guys want to sponsor the show, we can negotiate. Back in the day, I believe that meant 5 or 6 Red Bulls for someone who's on the other side.
I am on the other side. I'm doing so much better.
On the other side of it, you are.
Red Bull, Starbucks.
Yeah, so caffeine. That's how we get ourselves through. And then we get into these nasty cycles. But fact of the matter is, there's a reason. There's a reason why we're so tired. Mm-hmm. And there's another really cool study I found.
Tell me.
Yeah, there's so many numbers out in the world just available for me to pluck. Okay, so here are some of the big ones. Let's talk about why people are tired. First, with work.
Yeah.
Okay, so work on average, they say it's a 40-hour week.
It's never a 40-hour.
Baloney.
Never a 40-hour week, especially if you work for yourself.
Ugh.
Or if you have a 9 to 5 or a different type of position, and then you still hustle.
Yep. So baloney is what I have to say about all of that. Nobody works a 40-hour week. Well, what they have found on average, people work about an 8.8-hour day. 8.8 hours. So that's
seems low.
It does seem low.
But
this is an average across the board of all people who are in the labor force, 8.8 hours a day. But we all know, especially if you're a woman, not to throw shade to the gentleman, but we do know that there's a lot that comes after work.
And before.
Yeah. This whole idea of unpaid labor. So, the laundry, the dishes, the cooking, the kids, everything.
It's just the household in general.
The household and
groceries.
Yes. Doctor's appointments.
Yeah.
Yeah. All of the things.
Extracurriculars.
How many hours per day?
Of unpaid?
Of unpaid labor does the average person do? You can give me a male and female number because
the average, I was going to say.
Dramatically different.
I would say the unpaid labor that a man would do is probably somewhere around 2 or 3 hours. Maybe-ish. A woman, over 5.
You're not wrong. You're not very wrong. So for men on average, it was 3.6 hours. So right around 3.5 hours. Okay. For unpaid labor a day. Okay. That's a lot. And for women, it was 5.7. So almost
that's like right there.
5 hours, 45-ish minutes.
Yeah.
That's a lot. So we have our 8.8 hours and we're going to go with women because I feel like a lot of our listeners here, they're going to be women. Mm-hmm. So we're looking at right now, we've got 14 hours of your day through paid and unpaid labor. Paid and unpaid.
And I know me. If I don't get, 9, 10 hours of sleep, I am not fun to be around the next day.
There are moments, folks, if I'm going to be honest with all of you, the girl needs her sleep. We all need our sleep.
We do, just to be able to function.
Yeah.
And I'm just so grateful because, I mean, you and I have the type of relationship where we do share that load at home,
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
So I think that our unpaid labor, although we do a lot of it,
We do it.
we do it together.
Yeah.
And that's so important.
That is. So you want to know the crazy thing about all of this, though?
Oh, gosh.
There's actually more that we do in a day.
Well, of course there is.
So there's this category, like another category that's called leisure activity that I found. Yes, I'm going to say leisure activity because some of them don't feel very leisurely to me, at least. And I'm sure for some extroverts in the world, specific star signs, this will speak to you. So leisure activity, how many hours a day do we do leisure activity? Before I tell you what it is,
I don't know, like maybe like 2?
2?
I guess like it really depends on what it is. If it's like socializing, if it's like on your phone.
So global average, for women, it's 267 minutes per day. So four-ish.
Oh God.
4-ish hours a day. So we're up to the 18-hour
We're over
mark.
18.
Yeah, we're at 18 hours. For men,
So much more.
it's almost 6 hours. Just 5.5 hours.
Because they play games on their phone and they do.
Well, here's the crazy thing, though. Yes, that's some of it. But here are some of the categories or some of the things that were considered leisure activities. Sports, which, okay, that can be fun. It's enjoyable, right? But to participating and attending events.
Oh.
That's a leisure activity.
Well, not for you.
No. That you have to go out and do the things. That's a lot. Visiting friends is another leisure activity.
Well, and for some personality types, and that drains your battery. It doesn't recharge you.
Absolutely.
And we're very opposite in that way.
Yeah, we are opposite in that way. Some of the other things included on leisure activities, though, include things like reading or being outside, things that are actually restful. But regardless of how you look at this, we're looking at now about 18 hours a day were spent doing things. No wonder we're so tired and trying to be caffeinated.
Yeah.
Makes total sense to me.
That's crazy.
Now you add, onto it, this idea of being a leader. And so many people that oversee people in the workforce, if you are a supervisor, there's this, I think, big burden that you carry where you feel like if the team doesn't get it done, then I have to get it done. So those hours tacked on for work, I can't even begin to quantify.
Well, and that's the idea of overcompensation, right? Like in order to be a leader or to be the best, you have to show up, you have to be productive. It's a giant black hole.
Yeah, it is. So we get in these cycles. We talked about it a little bit earlier, where we get in these cycles of giving and giving and giving and giving. But at a certain point, we just literally don't have anything left to give. So for listeners out there who might be in leadership roles, who might be considering the leadership roles, I think the most important thing that you can do is really get yourself into the habit of taking actual restful time.
Yeah. I mean, rest is required. And for so many of us, we look at it as a reward.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And that's it. Like rest is a requirement. It is not a reward.
Right.
You have to rest.
Right. So how do we make sure that happens? Because a big part of why we're doing this show isn't just to talk about these topics to help normalize them, because I think it needs to be normalized. People need to understand that it's okay to be tired. It happens. You're not lazy. But we also need to help them out because, I mean, there was a time and a place in my life where I would have given anything to have someone say, like, listen, kid, do this instead. So how do we do it?
Yeah.
How do we help them?
I think that it really depends on the person. I think that for some people, meditation practices, even if it just puts your mind at rest for a few minutes, can be super helpful. I know it's really helped me.
Yeah.
And routine. I think routine is such a big one. We've seen it with our kids.
Yeah. We have,
right?
We have seen it with our kids. I think for me, one of the hardest things I had to learn as a leader and the whole fatigue thing is that it was okay for me to say no. Like, no, I can't do that. no, that's not my responsibility.
Delegate.
Just plain old fashioned no. No, if it wasn't getting done by me, then it felt like it wasn't going to get done. So I always said yes. So I really recommend saying no. Now, a lot of people, when I give this advice to them, they automatically, I can't, I'm not, I can't. I'm a people pleaser.
Program that way. Yep.
You have to. You have to. And I always like to say, start with something super small, super duper small, something that's so inconsequential that it's not going to matter. It's not going to matter to the person.
Yeah.
And just set that small boundary. And then eventually you build up your resilience in saying no. And all of a sudden, maybe you do have an extra hour in the day that you can sleep. Can you imagine what an extra hour would have done at different parts of
our lives? Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Do you have any other tips though for people who are struggling with that whole maybe people pleasing, difficulty saying no type of mindset?
I think that it comes back down to, as a leader and as everyone kind of grows into a leadership role, wherever that and whatever that looks like for them. Vulnerability and the ability to ask for help, I think, is massive. Yeah. And in order to be seen as a leader, to be respected, if you think about some of the leaders in your life that you really respect, they ask for help. Yeah, they ask for help. They are vulnerable about whether or not they can take something on. So it's okay to ask for help.
Yes, it is.
And give yourself permission to do that.
I couldn't agree with you more. Yeah. So the big 3 takeaways for anyone who's maybe feeling a little guilty for being really tired. Again, you're tired for a reason. But what you can do to maybe help yourself find a routine that's comfortable for you. Perhaps check out some meditation if that's not something that you already do. Next, you want to practice saying no. Start with those little things, right? Tiny baby steps. That's what we like here. And the third one is make sure we ask for help, because everybody needs help at some time or another. What's going to set you apart is your ability to admit that vulnerability.
Totally.
All right. Well, until next time, everyone, thank you for joining us on Unmute. Make sure you like, share, follow, subscribe, do all the things that you do. And then we'll
talk to you soon.
Bye.